Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come on down to Robert Reed's Choose Your Own Adventure.
Alright, I'm going to put my book. There it is. This is definitely one of the best Choose Your Own Adventures that I have read, in that it's relatively simple, straightforward, and well written. It's also very short, and so I imagine that I'll probably actually be able to find every ending before we finish the stream, because it's, 25 past 12? I could go for another hour at least. I probably will have to break for lunch, stop for lunch at some point. That'll be the deciding factor of whether we finish or not. But I'm also just not going to end by getting incredibly frustrated. Alright, so we ended with stealing a baby dragon, kidnapping a baby dragon, and stealing a handful of loot and getting out of there. That was the, how do I say this in a more euphemistic way and not just straight up? That was the you weren't as protected as you thought you were ending, because you ended up with an unexpected baby dragon. So 103 was from 85, which was a choice. So we go back to 85. Instead of 103, we our premonition comes into place, and it's like, I don't want a baby. If I go through that page, I end up with a baby. I gotta climb up this up the balcony. So instead, you turn to 92. I've always wanted to climb a balcony, you say nervously. Zakon tosses his rope up to it, and one by one you climb up onto it. The balcony leads into a small square room with metal walls. A large round mirror is set onto one side. Below the mirror are some small circles with arrows in them. This is curious, says Zakon, walking over to the mirror. He presses a spot on the wall at the side of the mirror, and the mirror begins to light up from behind. Then a moving picture of two dragons fighting furiously in the sky appears on it. Those must be the two dragons I rousted out from the den, says Zakon, and now we're seeing them outside in the sky. Is this a kind of crystal ball? Vegana asks, super helpfully. I mean, sort of, answers Zakon, but not quite. It's hard to explain the difference. Nali, Vegana and Zakon stand watching the dragon fight. You look around and notice a small alcove in one corner. You step inside to investigate. Quick! Zakon shouts to you. Get out of there before... You start to jump out, but you're not fast enough. You're not fast enough to pull out. Suddenly a door snaps shut, trapping you inside. Almost instantly the alcove, or whatever it is you're trapped in, zips upward at a great speed. Your stomach feels as if it has dropped to your knees. Turn from 92 to 22. Pull-out game weak. The thing you're in stops moving, and its door opens. You jump out to find yourself in a luxurious complex of rooms. The floor gleams with the luster of polished black stone. All around the room are pieces of furniture made of richly grained woods and other objects of silver and gold. Some are studded with diamonds and other gems. As you wander about, you find more rooms furnished with more riches. In one of them you discover a display case made of shimmering crystal and framed with gold. Resting inside it is a gleaming sword with a polished steel blade and a handle of inlaid ivory. Something about the sword, beyond its beauty and obvious value, fascinates you. Your palms itch to hold it. But would it be wise to take it from its case? Could it be a trap of some sort put there to tempt the unwary? So, do you decide to relinquish to what your palms are desiring and wrap them around the hilt of this weapon? Or do you resist? Do you have good strength in knowing to do what is right? Thumbs up for hell yeah, we grab it. Thumbs down for I'm strong of will. Itchy palms to wrap around that weapon. You don't even need to ask, bro. Ask consent first, but grab the sword, yes. Alright, so choice on page 22, and we chose to go to page 34. You slide open the top of the case and reach inside for the sword. You reach around for the sword. The handle fits perfectly in your hand, like it was made for you. As you lift the sword out of the case, a strange force seems to run up through your arm. You slash the blade through the air to get a feel of it, and the sword leaves a glow in the air where it passed. You're about to try it again when you hear voices coming. You duck behind a heavy, elaborately carved standing screen. Just in time. Through a crack in the screen, you see a man and a woman come into the room.
"But Tarlane,"
The woman says.
"you said you'd show me how you control the dragons, in exchange for some of my secrets. Remember, with my occult powers and your dragons, we could control the world."
"Right, Morgana,
Tarlane says.
but now I'm preparing an important mission. On top of that, some of the dragons are acting up. Why? I'm not sure."
"Well, dragons be dragons, I always say,"
says Morgana. Tarlane ushers her to her door. She goes out and he closes it behind her. Then he spins on his heels and takes a small metal object from his jacket. He walks over and stands in front of the screen you're hiding behind. The metal object in his hand is pointed at you.
"All right, whoever you are, come out from behind that screen," he orders. "I did not consent to voyeurism kink."
That's him holding his strange metal object in his hand, pointing his weapon at you. You have a sword. He has a gun. You don't know what a gun is. He's smoking a cigarette. Turn from 34 to page 40. Using all your might, you shove the heavy screen towards Tarlane. He leaps aside, but the top of the falling screen catches his foot. Then he tumbles to the floor. He tries to point the metal object in your direction again, but a slash from the sword knocks the weapon from his hand. It sails across the floor and under a chair. Quickly, Tarlane is on his feet. Seemingly from nowhere, he grabs a long metal staff and swings it at you. He swings his long staff at you, and that's his mistake. You're well trained with staffs. I may be adding liberty here. Taking liberty. You catch his staff with your sword and cut it in two! Ah! A surge of the sword's own force shoots back through the blade into your body. You're momentarily frozen to the spot. Tarlane is not so lucky. The part of the staff he still holds explodes in his hand, knocking him. The staff he still holds in his hand... the staff he still holds explodes in his hands. Knocking him back into another room. That guy was pent up. Like, if it's forceful enough to knock you backwards into another room, Jesus, you needed that. Turn to page 53. That's your picture of you overpowering him and throwing him to the ground. Alright, 40 to 53. With bloody hands, Tarlane crawls towards a cabinet in the corner. You assume he wants to get some new weapon. Free now of the paralysing force, you run to stop him. You grab him just as he's crawling into the cabinet. With a strength you didn't suspect he had, Tarlane pulls you inside with him. With a strength you didn't suspect he had, Tarlane pulls you inside with him. The doors of the cabinet slam shut. A flash like a bolt of lightning stuns you. Everything spins around, faster and faster, and then as suddenly as it began, the spinning stops. Turn from 53 to 116, and we've gone into the future again, but this time with Tarlane. I don't know, maybe we've gone into the past, I don't know. I'm just speculating. 116 is the last page of the book. The cabinet doors open again. Outside is a room much like the one inside Dragon Mountain, but much larger. A group of men, all dressed like Tarlane, stand there. Tarlane jumps to his feet. What are the voices of these, one of the men? I need a voice. Come on, Rob, straight face. I thought he was going to come out of the closet. He will in a second with you. He's forcing you to come out of the closet. Conrad?
Where are the dragon eggs you promised us?
One of the men asks Tarlane in a threatening tone.
Time is running out.
My enemy planes must feel the talons of the dragons.
I couldn't bring them this time, Tarlane says. This intruder set back my plans.
Then you will pay, says the man, pointing at you. All of the men take out their weapons, like the one Tarlane had tried to use against you, and they point them at you. As if on signal, they all fire at the same time. All of the men simultaneously take out their weapons, point them at you, and fire them. Fire them inside you. So unfortunately, now we know what we've got with that ending. It's a bad ending, but we learned something about what's going on. So we learned that Tarlane is from the future, a future that is absolutely war-torn with planes dropping bombs, and then the bombs, one side of the war is like, let's get dragons, because then the dragons can fight the bomber planes without needing pilots, I guess. And then they find a time machine, maybe not a time machine, maybe a universe machine, a time portal machine, and then they go back. They don't go back in time. They just go to a different dimension where dragons exist, and they try and steal dragon eggs. However, Tarlane has the device to travel back and forth, and he has control of dragons, and he has a bunch of dragon eggs and dragon babies. And so we know now that Tarlane could have returned with the dragon eggs and instead decided, fuck it, I'm living like a king here. I'll stay here as Dragon Master. So he was kind of screwing over the guys and only went back because he had to, because his hand was blown off by his own forceful explosion of his staff. These kind of spicy stories aren't usually heavy on plot. Or maybe he's just incompetent, yeah. The story's actually well written. Alright, so 116 was an end. Before that was 53. What was before 53? What sent us to 53? I feel like we're getting towards the end. Surely we can't have read fewer than 116 pages at this point. The last choice was on 22. Thank you very much. 22. We decided to take the sword, which led to all of that shit. In this moment, we flash back. We think, no, we must resist putting our hands on this stranger's weapon. We don't know that we don't know if this stranger's weapon is dangerous to us. We don't know if we could, maybe it's cursed and we catch something by touching the weapon. We don't want to touch a stranger's weapon with our bare hands, so we leave it well enough alone. And we turn to page 108. If we grab the sword, we end up getting shot at. Taking the sword might be too dangerous. But then again, you are about to change your mind when you hear someone coming. Quickly you hide behind a heavy screen. A man and woman enter the room. They talk briefly and the woman leaves. The man walks over and stands in front of the screen where you're hiding. Somehow he knows you are behind it. A strange metal object in his hand. A weapon! You push the screen trying to knock him over, but he jumps to one side. Bang! So having the sword in hand allowed him to not jump to the side. But not having the sword means he's quick enough to jump to the side. Alright. Also, this is the first part of the book that I'm like, that's really lazy. That's really lazy. So either whether you take the sword or not, the man and woman enter the room and have the conversation. That makes sense, because taking the sword shouldn't change that. But you're too lazy to just copy and paste. I suppose maybe they were typing it up by hand. No, not in 84. They would have had copy-paste, surely. They had computers. They just didn't necessarily have internet. So 84, you had computers. You could have copy-pasted, surely. You could have copy-pasted the section of the conversation they had, and then the conversation leading all the way down to him saying, come out from behind the screen. He jumps to the side. Bang! The noise seems to come from the object in his hand. At almost the same time, something knocks you backward. You feel a terrible pain in your chest. You've been shot in the 6th century, hundreds of years before the invention of the gun. The end. So it is before. So it is specifying that you're in the 6th century. It's even given a date. You're in the 6th century now. You're in the 500s. So they had dragons in the 500s, is what this book is telling us. We're not in a different world, or maybe in this world. Okay, we're not necessarily in on Earth, right? We're in the 6th century of this world, in which there were dragons, and then decades, hundreds of years later, they invented guns and lost dragons somehow. Alright, the choice before that was 85. Computers, yes. Copy paste, maybe, but no one who grew up on typewriters would think to use it. Yeah, fair. They just got to typing out page 108 and went, I don't want to type out that conversation again. This is just a bad ending. They just die. Alright, so last choice was 85, but we already took both options there, somebody's saying? Yes, we did. So if the last option was climb up onto the balcony, is that right? So it was through the dragon door or climb onto the balcony. And so we did both of those choices. So the last choice before that was 57. Do you want to go up the shaft or down into the den? And you went down into the den to get to that mound. You wanted that mound. You got some good ending there with the gold, but you ended up with a baby. And then you got some bad ending from getting shot on by a bunch of guys. So, you zoom back to this moment and you think, I'm going to have to get on that shaft. Like, that mound leads to... The mound leads to nothing but trouble. The shaft is where it's at. Where my bisexual is at. Alright, so you decide to try and climb back up the shaft. Turn to page 80. There's got to be a safer way, you tell Vagana. I think we should go back up the ventilation shaft and try and find another entrance to the dragon's den. It's going to be hard and risky to get back up the shaft, says Zarkon. But let's give it a try. Zarkon tosses his rope into the shaft. The rope crawls upwards as if it was alive, and then attaches itself somewhere far up inside the tunnel. It can't have too much to grasp onto up there, says Zarkon, but it seems to be holding for now. Zarkon goes first, pulling himself gradually upwards with the rope. You go next, followed by Vagana and Ngali. Suddenly you hear Zarkon cursing above you. Then he comes flying down on top of you, the rope loose in his hands. As both of you go sliding down, you pick up Vagana and Ngali on the way. All of you crash into the row of bars again. This time the grating breaks loose and goes flying. The four of you go with it into the dragon's den. The dragons wake from their roar, hungry for an early morning snack. You. That is the vor ending. You get the vor ending. We got eaten by dragons. It's only a matter of time in a book called The Dragon Den that we got killed by a dragon. We've been insinuated to have been killed by a fire lizard. And we've been saved by a dragon. Alright, so 19 is the next. So we go all the way back, flash back in time with our premonitions. Did we agree with Vagana or agree with Zarkon? Vagana said we should try the shaft and go straight for the treasure. Zarkon interrupted to say it's probably a ventilation shaft, and it's probably going to lead us right to their claws. It would be wiser to follow the river ledge to its end. And you think, I think I agree with you, Zarkon. Having glimpsed the future, I turn from 19 to 76. 19 is the last prior choice. Ooh, what happens before 19 then? 76. As long as there is a path along the river, I think we should follow it, you say. You hike deep into the mountain. As the ledge curves, you come across a low tunnel. Ngali is almost overcome with joy and excitement. It's a dwarf hole! He's overcome. Nali is overcome with excitement and joy over the dwarf hole. You're happy with finale, but you're not overjoyed at having to walk half bent over in a tunnel meant for dwarves. By the time you reach the main dwarf town, a high-walled cavern filled with hundreds of circular dwarf houses, you are so By the time... You're professional. Totes profesh. By the time you reach the dwarf town, you are so stiff that it takes you half an hour before you can stand again. You have to take a second. You have to take half an hour before you can stand again, because you're so stiff. Fuck this book, man. Written by Richard Brightfield. Can somebody look up at Richard Brightfield and see if he writes smut? Was this like a part-time writing for him? Does he also write smut and he was just like, he just couldn't turn it off? Every single Robert Reed Stews books from this author, all of them. if you're so stiff after entering your dwarf hole that you're still stiff after 4 hours, you should see a doctor. Stiff, bent over, coming into town with a bunch of dwarves. If he did, he'd use a different name. That's fair. He died in 2020. Damn! I was hoping to reach out to him. Ask him some questions. Richard Brightfield sounds like a pen name. Yeah, maybe he wrote under his real name. Whew, okay, so by the time you reach the main dwarf town, you are so stiff that it takes you half an hour before you can stand up again. You, Vagana, and Zarkon have helped Ngali return to his family. There is rejoicing throughout the underground lands of all the dwarves. They hold a giant feast in your honour. The dwarves' banquet hall is decorated with tapestries woven with gold threads that sparkle in the bright torchlight. You are served mushrooms, fish from the underground lakes, and other aphrodisiacs and other delicacies whose source you do not care to know. The next morning, you and your companions are loaded up with sacks of uncut gems and gold nuggets. Uncut is best. Then the dwarves lead you up through the mountain to an exit known only to them. They show you their secret exit. You and Vagana are so excited you can't stop talking about your good fortune. You didn't find the dragon treasure, but now you are wealthy beyond your dreams. The end. That is a group happy ending. So you found a happy ending for a whole bunch of people. I swear I read this book as a kid. It sounds familiar, but not this dirty. Yeah, read it again, but the safe for work edition. Maybe if I fancy like an entire week's worth of editing wages just for this one job, maybe I can get her to just go through and try and make this as clean as possible as an alternate cut, and then we can put them out as two different versions: the clean version and the as it was unredacted version. Someone's had a really good night. Yeah. There is no clean version. I don't know. I've tried to give another reading occasionally when it's particularly bad. It's just going to be you laughing and the occasional cough. Uncut's how dwarves roll, yeah. You can read it anew as a child. You can read it as a child, read it anew as an adult. Get something else, yeah. Imagine family are judging me for laughing so loudly over the past several hours. Explain why. Alright, so 77 came from 76, 76 came from something else. What was the last choice we made was 19, right? Is that correct? We tried to find the shaft, we found a dwarf hole, we went to the hole. So what was before 19? Does anybody remember what was before 19? We've taken both options at 19. There was choices before that. I remember I think the first choice of the book was like, do you go up the mountain or... No, the very first choice was, do you go with them outside or up to the bed? Do you spend the night with the two strange men that you just met in the pub, or do you take them outside to find a dark alleyway instead? That was your first choice. Still more? I thought we were done. No, man, we've got...
You thought we were done, Brew the Great? I'm not finished yet. I want another. I want another ending.
We've had all choices before that? No, we didn't. Alright, if nobody remembers where we went then, we will just have to go back through from the beginning and find where the choices are. Alright, turn to page 2. Turn to page 3. 3 went, if you trust them up to the room, to 10. We did that. 10 to 15. We did that. Turn to page 26. We did that. Turn to page 33. We did that. We went straight up the mountain, so 33 was an option. So 10 was from 3, right? So somebody write this down. 3 was an option that we took to go to page 10. And then we got 33 was an option where we took to page 18. 18 was an option where we agreed to go with Zarkon to find another way into the mountain. Went to page 32. 32 was the option. So we've gone through that, haven't we? We've gone through 18 and that. Have I forgotten something? 18 from 33. 33 was go straight up the mountain. We did that, yeah. Or did we already do 33 and go the winding route to 86? What was 86? Was that the winding route? No, we haven't done the other option of 86 yet, page 33. So the option on 33 we took 18. The option on 18 we've definitely done both, but we mustn't have exhausted both. So we turned to 32. 32 we tried the rope from above and we tried the narrow ledge on 46, so we've exhausted both options there and went to 46. Uh, 46 just led us to 50. 50 led us to 16. 16 was jump on the... Oh, sorry, no, 16 was 25. 25 was 19. 19 is agree with Vergana on that. Alright, cool. So we have done both of these, right? So 19 led us both to 83 and 76, both of which we've done, right? 83 and 76. We did, so 19 was the last time that we were like, oh, 19 was the first option. I don't think we did 3 twice. No, we hadn't done 3 twice because that's the first option. You go backwards. You go all the way to the end of the option. You go back to the last option that is unexplored, and you explore out from there. And then you go back further to the next option that was unexplored, and you keep going back. So the other option from page 3 will be literally the last thing we do. That's the last path to take. All right. So 3, 10, 33, 18, 32. So 33 is going to be the last one that we took then. 86 should be new. '86 would be new, yeah, but we're not. Are we there yet? I don't think it's there yet, right? Is that the option from 33? '19 was the first choice that you had in your list. Okay, so we've done 19. Definitely explored that. 33 is the last one that was unresolved, which was 18 up to 32, 32 followed the ledge 46, 46 led us to 50, which led us to 16, 16 led us to 25, 25 turned us to 19, yes, okay, 50 turned us to 16. Okay, 46. So from 46 leads to 19. So all the way back down to this. Boom. All right. So 32. 32 is. Sorry, no. 33. 33 is. 33 is the. Yeah. 33 is the last choice we need to make. Okay. So all the way back. We're now outside. The small figure of a dwarf child jumps into view. This is Nali. We're reintroduced to Nali. If memory serves, we can take this path straight up the mountain. It's a rough climb, but it's the fastest way. Or we can take the other path, which follows a longer, winding route. It'll leave us in better shape to explore the cave once we get there. We decided to go up the treacherous path, which turned out to be not at all treacherous. And so now we are back at the winding route, and we decide we're going to take that route instead. 86. So 33 to 86, and now 33 is expended. I don't see any use in wearing ourselves out, you say, as you start up the winding path. The four of you climb easily and steadily higher until the woods start to thin out. Ahead, through the last of the trees, you see a broad alpine meadow sloping up towards the top of the mountain high above you. You're halfway across the meadow when you hear noises behind you. Turning, you see a large group of soldiers on horseback charging towards you. Turn to page 94, 86 to 94. I don't like the looks of that, you say. We haven't got much chance out here in the open if they attack us. Don't worry, says Zarkon. I recognise my friend Valerian in the lead. I'm probably going to need a voice for Valerian, by the way. Don't worry, says Zarkon. I recognise Valerian. He's the captain of the King's Guard. The horsemen gallop up to you and dismount. I need a voice. Give me a voice for Valerian.
Southern.
Southern drawl. Hey, Southern.
Yeah, I'm a Southern gentleman. Zarkon! Boy, howdy, am I glad I found you, Valerian says. The king requests your urgent return to the castle.
But I'm on an important mission, says Zarkon.
Prince Rupert has fallen ill.
Prince Rupert? No, that's Prince Albert. I was like, isn't Prince Rupert a dick piercing? No, that's a Prince Albert.
Prince Albert has fallen ill,
Valerian says. Ugh, not again, Zarkon exclaims.
This time it appears to be more serious than the times before, says Valerian. Your presence always seems to cure him.
I know, says Zarkon with a sigh. I guess I'll have to go. He is, after all, the heir to the throne. Half your party will return with me to the castle. The other half will provide safe escort for my companions to a point high up on the mountain. Okay?
I'm sorry, Zarkon, Valerian says, but my orders do not include...
Zarkon raises his staff and glowers. I advise you to do as I say, he commands.
Yes, Daddy.
You know how I get when I'm mad. Turn back to page 61, so 94 to 61. The Southern gentleman, more foghorn leg on. You just said Southern, not Southern gentleman. I decided where. I said, boy. What was that? 61. 61.
As if I could forget, Valerian groans. All right, we'll bend for you. We'll bend the rules a bit.
Valerian divides up his troops. 5 of the guard, including himself, returns with Zarkon. The other 5 are your escorts up the mountain. I will rejoin you soon, I hope, Zarkon calls as he jumps on the back of Valerian's horse. You watch as they gallop back down the mountain, and then you, Vagana, and Nali each climb up behind a horseman, riding bareback on a horse up the mountain. Turn from 61 to 66. It's no wonder this guy carries a rope. It is late afternoon when you see a tower at the top of the mountain. At the same time, the horses stop before a strange structure on the ground, a low fence of thick metal threads running in both directions as far as the eye can see. You dismount, touch one of the threads, and instantly jerk your arm back in pain. The fence is burning hot. You try to step over the metal threads, but one of the troopers gives you a reach around and grabs you. I need a trooper voice. What's a trooper voice for me? Italian. I say Italian up ahead. This is the dragon line. The king has forbidden us to cross it. I'm not good at Italian. Italiana. The king has forbidden us to cross it. The dragons will know if we do. How, you ask? The dragons are supposed to be under the mountain, miles away. I do not know what evil magic is at play. I would not tempt fate. You may go on at your own risk, but my men and I are returning to the castle. No matter what Zarkon asked us to do, I would advise you do the same. If you take the trooper's advice, bam, we've got another choice. So 66 is the choice that came from 33. So the choice of 33 led to the choice of 66. If you take the trooper's advice and return down the mountain, put thumbs down. If you decide to cross the dragon line and continue up the mountain, turn to 43. Let's go. We've done enough going down for a while. We're ready. We're finally ready to enter this mountain. Alright, the yeses have it. The yeses are in the lead. We're going up the mountain. We decide to cross the dragon line and continue up the mountain. Turn to page 43. So 66 leads to 43, which is not an option, not a choice. I think I'll keep going up the mountain, you say. I'm with you. Oh, fuck. Vagana, you're still here. Nali also nods yes. Thank you for bringing us this far, you tell the troopers as you step over the dragon line. You turn to wave goodbye as they ride off down the slope. Looks as if we're on our own from here, you say. Looks as if we're down to just a threesome from here, you say. It looks like it, Vagana agrees. Even with the map, she says, taking it out of her boot. I still can't tell where the cave is. Oh yeah, that's right. Your only purpose in this mission was that you had a map, and you're just telling me now that you can't. That the map doesn't tell us anything. So what you're telling me is you have a piece of parchment with some ink on it, and that's it. That's what you're offering, is it? It's a good thing you're hot. Cave or no cave, you say. I think we're onto something. You see that tower up there? That could mark an entrance into the mountain.
It also appears to mark the top of the mountain,
says Nali. You ignore his remark and climb towards the tower. You're almost there when you notice a number of large black shapes in the southern sky. They're closing fast. I don't like the look of those things, you say. Let's make a dash for the tower. There may be a door at its base. 43 leads us to 110. The three of you race for the tower. Frantically, you search around the base. It's because it's... No. Frantically search around the base, but there's no way in. You can't find the spot that makes it open for you. There's no way in. The black shapes are now clearly the hideous forms of dragons. A dozen of them close in and begin circling the tower.
What'll we do now?
Nali asks in a shaky voice. Before you can answer, a huge blast of flame whips across the mountain top. And when the smoke clears, only the scorched earth remains around the blackened stone tower. Blackened stone tower. The end. Uh-oh. That was the too hot for you to handle ending. We led to 110 from 43. We got to 43 from 66. Alright, so 66 is spent. We are taking the trooper's advice to return down the mountain. We instead turn around and go back to 49. So we're now going back to page 49, returning with the troops down the mountain. Yes, there's definitely something about this device that I don't like, you say. Let's go back to the forest cover as fast as we can. We need another trooper. This is a different trooper that we haven't heard from yet. I heard German before, in Schreidrei.
I'll second that, says one of the troopers. Jump on my horse and we'll get out of here.
Fortunately, going downhill is faster for the horses, but it still seems like an eternity before you reach the woods. Something in the back of your mind is shouting danger. Because you just got on the back of a horse you got on the back of a vehicle with a strange man, and then he raced off as fast as he could, and you don't know where he's taking you. Listen to the thought that's shouting danger. When you get to the woods, the troopers hide their horses among the trees to rest, and then you go back to the edge of the woods and look up the slope. Far up on top of the mountain, you see black shapes circling. They could be birds, but birds flying at such a great distance would be barely visible from where you are. You know the circling shapes are something much larger. Dragons. I don't know about you, you say to Vagana and Nali, but I'm going deeper into the forest for a while. I have to decide if I really want that dragon treasure as much as I thought I did. The end. That was the having second thoughts. That was the maybe this isn't going to be as fun as I thought it was. I should probably go home ending. Wand of Detect Magic. Alright, what pushed us to 66? That was 33, wasn't it? And 33 was expended by going either the winding route or straight up the mountain, which means 33 is expended. What was it that sent us to 33? 33 was from 10, and 10 was from 3. Well, 10 was to 15, and 15 was to 26, and 26 was to 33. So yeah, 10 led to 33, inevitably. And 3 led to 10, correct? So we're back to the very first choice of the game. You've never had a premonition this long or this far into the future before, or this complex, or this branching. Oh my god, you're all the way back into the tavern where you're meeting the strange men at the table. You haven't even realised in the real world that Vergana is actually a hot woman and is disguising themselves as a bloke called Boke. And so what's just been asked is, if you're not an agent, you're going to get all three of us sent to the mines. The king's spies are all about. We better discuss this in my room. We can't all go upstairs at once, though. It would be too conspicuous. So we'll go one at a time, and I'll go first. To which you responded, how can I trust the two of you won't try and slip out of the back of the inn or try and do me in upstairs? Bless me, we wouldn't do that. You seem to be, if you are what you seem, the only person we're looking for, said Boke. And then you have the choice of trusting them and going up to the room, or not trusting them and insisting on meeting outside. Which, you think, you know what? I don't trust you anymore, Boke. I can tell that you're a woman in disguise. And you decide to meet them outside instead. No, I think it would be better if we met outside, you say. I have a certain distrust of upstairs rooms. Very well, says Boke. We can meet at the end of the lane in an hour, but watch out for the king's patrols, they can be nasty. Boke and his friend leave by the back door of the inn. When almost an hour has gone by, you casually pay for your meal and ease yourself out the front door. The lane is dark. Every so often a sliver of moon appears from behind a cloud and casts a pale light on the town. But your eyes are used to seeing in the dark. Far up the lane you see Boke and his friend standing together by a post. You stride towards them in the darkness. You've almost reached them when you realise there is something very wrong. And then you see that Boke and his friend are not just standing by the post. They're tied to it. Run for it! Boke shouts to you. It's a trap! Turn to page 71. You turn and dash down the lane. Your way is suddenly blocked by dim shadows. Even though you can't see them clearly, your experience tells you that they are King's Guard, and you sense their swords are drawn and pointed at you. You stand there for a moment trying to decide what to do. One of the guards opens a lantern. Its beam falls on your face. One of the guards spreads his light over your face.
That's the one.
Nope.
That's the one,
a woman's voice says. What was another voice? We need a woman's voice for the guard. No, it's the serving girl who waited on you at the inn. It's not one of the guards. Stephanie. Oh, Bodger. Hello. We're doing Stephanie's voice for this one. Oh, and she's a serving girl. Why not? Okay. One of the guards opens a lantern, spreads the lantern's eminence all over your face. That's the one, the woman's voice says. You remember that voice. It belongs to the serving girl who waited on you at the inn. She must have overheard you talking about the treasure map. I need a guard's voice. Mel?
Good work, Molly,
says the guard holding the lantern. You hear the faint clink of coins being passed over. On hearing that, you realise the guard must have put his sword back in his belt in order to give Molly the money, and he is the only one standing between you and a side street. If you try to rush by the guard and escape down the street, turn to page 68. If you decide that you are outnumbered and you better wait, turn to page 23. So thumbs up for 23, thumbs down for escape down the side street. We will take both options. It's only a matter of time before we take both options, but I will tell you, turning to 68 comes with an accompanying 69 on the side page. I don't know what the image on page 69 is, but there is one. Alright, unanimously down the side street. We rush to escape the guards on page 68. So 71 is a choice that leads to 68. You rush at the guard with the lantern. He's not prepared for your attack and falls backward to the ground, stunned. The lantern flies out of his hand and crashes into darkness on the road. You run with all your might down the street toward a bridge. An object whizzes by your head, and then another. Arrows. The guards have archers posted on the town wall, but you're fast, and the night is dark. You're halfway across the bridge when suddenly the moon reappears. An arrow strikes you in the back, and then another, and another, and another. As the guards finish across your back, you topple lifeless into the moat, your face wet. So you 69 with some guards into the moat, with them finishing on your back, and your face ending up drenched. Back to 71 then. You tried to rush by the guard and escaped, and didn't escape. You decide instead, you see that as a vision and you think, fuck, I can't escape. You decide that you're outnumbered and you better wait, so you turn to page 23. Also, just to pause for a second, the logic of this, what's happening right now, is you are a stranger from outside, a traveller, an adventurer, who came into town, entered a tavern, an inn, asked about a dragon, heard hush hush, this guy's got a treasure map, we'll tell you about it in an hour down the street. The serving girl overheard you say that, went to the guards and said, hey, I've got a tip-off for you, if you give me some money I'll tell you where you can find a person with a map. They said, sure thing. She said, yes, but first you need to go down the street and tie up some dudes to a lamppost and then leave like you're not there. Make it look like from a distance that they're not tied to the lamppost, but just like they're just hanging about by it. Then in an hour, the guy will leave from where he currently is and walk down the street to meet with them. And that's when I can step out of the shadows, following you there, to point him out. And then if it's actually the guy that I said it is, which you have no way of knowing other than having me identify them, then you can pay me money for his asking about a map. That's what we're going with? Because tavern girl could have just gone to the guards and said, yeah, this guy's eating a meal in my tavern and is completely unexpecting anything. Just casually walk into the tavern and ask him about the map. And then he, being an outsider and not knowing that maps are illegal, I guess, will be like, oh yeah, some guys have a map and they left, sorry. Like, what the fuck? Don't think about it too much. Smut never makes much logical sense. It wasn't a smut until Rob got his hands on it, yeah. Okay, so I guess the guards are going to arrest you for having a map or something. You don't even have the map. You just asked about the map. Why is it illegal to have a map? Treasure is being discussed. A map is being examined. You slip quietly into the seat beside them and ask about the map. Let's have a look at the map. The one you're tucked into your boot. Are you a king's agent? No, I'm not a king's agent. You're going to get all three of us sent to the salt mines because the king's spies are about. Why do the king's spies care about you having a map? That's the part that just never was explained. Like, just having the king's agents have spies about and having a map is illegal, I guess. I don't know. There are just too many guards around. You'll have to try to escape later. The guards untie Boke and his friend and then lead the three of you at sword point up to the castle.
Yay! Take him to the dungeon.
Somebody asked for New York. That's my best New York.
New York. Hey, I'm walking here. Take him to the dungeon.
An officer of the guard orders. Alone, you are shoved inside a grim, barren stone cell. Its heavy iron door slams shut, and you can hear the guards marching away. Turn to page 28. I'm surprised that wasn't an ending. Early the next morning, the guards come back for you. You are tied up. You are led up to the. That was a genuine slip. I didn't even mean to add that one. You are led up to the king's audience chamber. Boke and his friend are also there. What's the king's voice? I remember somebody asked New York, but I couldn't remember the next one, so I need another voice. Maybe only kings can have maps? I don't know, maybe. How do they even know if the map is real or has anything to do with the castle? Maps are illegal. How would they know what the map shows? Yeah. Maybe the king just wants all treasure for himself. Doesn't want anyone to be as rich as him.
Vanessa's a little bit too close to Boke at the moment.
Hi, I'm Greg. Hello, adventurers. The king is Greg. Hello. Hello, prisoners. What is the charge against these three? Demands the king. What was one of the guards? Guards were...
I think one of the guards was
this thing, maybe? I can't remember. Can't fucking know.
Very high-pitched. Just very, very... So one of the guards steps forwards and says, "The charges are conspiracy to hunt for treasure in secret, your highness."
Conspiracy to hunt for treasure in secret. Treasure? Exclaims the king. What treasure?
"This is all a misunderstanding," says Boke. "We heard a rumour that there might be treasure in a cave up the mountain, and we were on our way to the castle to report it to the authorities when we were stopped by your guard."
A cave? On the mountain? Exclaims the king. There's only one mountain round here, and that's Dragon Mountain. Your highness, we only... You start. We mustn't do anything, and I repeat, anything, to rouse the dragons inside the mountain, the king says. If we do, they will swoop down and devastate my kingdom again. We haven't finished rebuilding from their last attack. That's why we need lots of adventurers, to collect lots of resources, so that we can rebuild the town. Maybe the dragons can be stopped, you say. Bosh! Snaps the king. My wizard Zarkon has been trying to stop them for years, and without success. Now if you're all so anxious to go into the mountain, a term in the salt mines should satisfy your curiosity, take them away!
"You can't do that!"
shouts Boke. And why can't I? Demands the king.
"Because of this,"
Boke says, pulling off his cap and shirt and belt. 29 turns to 38. He's about to reveal to the king that he's a sexy lady. It's 29 to 38. Long blonde shoulder-length hair tumbles free.
"I'm a girl, and my name is Vegana,"
says the small, thin youth you knew as Boke. Oh my word! Exclaims the king. No, the salt mines wouldn't do for a girl. Frail things they are. Wouldn't last an hour in the mines.
"I resent that," exclaims Vegana. "Women can do any job a man can. We can do blowjob."
Then why in heaven's name can't you work in the mines? Asks the king.
Because it's not right for the times,"
Says it. Nope.
Excuse me, because it's not right for the times,
Says a heavy, low voice coming from the side door. My wizard, Zarkon! Exclaims the king. I'm glad you're here. What am I to do about all of this?
Well, for this young lady,
Says Zarkon.
how about a period being a serving maid in the castle? As for the other two, I'd give him a choice between a short term in the mines or total banishment from the kingdom.
So wait a minute. In the logic of this particular story, Zarkon, who is the king's wizard, and who has been for decades trying to find a way to destroy the dragons, has now heard that one of you has a map to the cave where the dragons live, and an adventurer from out of town who is willing to go and explore with them, and doesn't say, let me go with you up into the mountains. That's where I thought this was going. I thought this was going to be a looping ending, one that finally like loops, because at the moment it's a tree in terms of like graph theory in maths terms. This is a tree. You've got a single node at the bottom, page 1, and that leads to a single node, page 2. Page 2 leads to a single node, page 3. Page 3 leads to 2 nodes, And then from there, we either get singles or doubles from that point on, but never crossing, never interacting, never going back to one another. I thought that this was setting up that Zarkon was going to be like, oh, let's go back, and we were going to turn this from a tree graph into a... What are they called? Connected? No. Can't remember graph theory enough to know the name for that one. But I thought it was going to eventually be like turn 2 page, whatever, where we end up going up the mountain with him, and then we just continue from there. Maybe he's tricking the king and he's going to help in secret. I mean, maybe. It's a chance. We've got another choice here. Women can do any job. Hand. Alright. As for the other two, I'll give them a choice between short term in the mines or total banishment. The mines can't be too far from the cave with the treasure in it, you think? If you can escape the mines, and then... I'll take banishment, says Vegana's friend. Vegana being Boke. So we didn't get Boke's friend's term? We never even got introduced to them. I can't remember what they sounded like.
They were they were like squeaky or something because they were the heavier one. I'll take banishment,
says Vegana's friend. Alright, you get a choice. On page 38, you get a choice if you choose short term in the mines or total banishment. Let's go up the mountain to the mines with a thumbs up, or total banishment, thumbs down. Or down, up or down. We're going to go for a short stint in the mines, the salt mines. As to the yes, they're in the lead. You know, banishment's going to be another ending. It might. Alright, the yeses definitely have it. We're going to go up the mountain to a short term in the mines. Turn to page 42. From 38, choice to 42. Jesus, I thought we were getting close. How many pages have we not fucking touched yet? I thought we must be closing in on 116 by now. I thought we were just doing like wrap up, like doing the last little like dead end endings that we hadn't worked out yet. 42. For several weeks you work and sleep in the mines. Your term as an observer is about up. On your last day you are deep inside the main maze-like complex of tunnels that make up the mine when you hear the sound of running feet and cries of panic. The guards come dashing by, followed by a number of prisoners. One of the last prisoners spots you standing by one of the big square pillars of salt that supports the ceilings under the ceilings of the underground passageways.
Run for it!
He shouts.
The king's men will be sealing off this part of the mine in a few minutes!
There's you standing next to a big pillar of salt that's holding up the top of the cave, blah blah blah. Oops, I was like, that doesn't work out. Turn to page 47 from 42. Instantly you remember what you were told a few days earlier. If the miners accidentally break through into a dragon run, one of the many large tunnels carved by the dragons under the mountain, then that part of the mine is sealed off. You turn to follow the prisoner who warned you, then stop as you realise this accident might be a great way of you getting into dragon territory. The dragon run might lead directly to a hoard of treasure. You can worry about how to get out of the mountain once you get a hold of it. On the other hand, if you encounter a dragon there, one puff of its breath can burn you to a cinder. You have to decide quickly. If you try to run back before they seal off the part of the mine, turn to page 99 and say, let's go down, because you're going down deeper into the mountain. So if you try to run back before they seal off the mine, turn to page 99 with the thumbs down. If you try to go forward and explore the dragon territory, turn to page 65. Huh? Run back or forward and explore. Oh, so the bottom, the go forward and explore the dragon territory is deeper into the mine. Alright, my bad. Thumbs down if you want to go deeper into dragon territory and look for treasure. Thumbs up if you want to escape. This whole book has an alternate title, Loot Lust. Loot Lust would be a good title for it. Works on 2 levels. It's pretty even. 3 against 3. Even. The Noes are in the lead by 2. Alright, the Noes are in the lead, but only just. Deeper into the mines, explore the cavern. decide to go forward and explore the dragon territory, turn to page 65. So we're going from a choice on 47 to page 65. The reason you chose the salt mines in the first place was to find dragon treasure. This may be your only chance. Carefully rest the water jug against a pillar. You take one of the torches from its holder in the wall and walk cautiously down the same passageways the miners have all just fled. A few minutes later, you come to the spot where the diggers broke through into the dragon run. Part of the wall has collapsed. You stand before a gaping hole. I didn't add that. That is words as written. You stand before a gaping hole, pushing your arm into it. You push your torch through and take a look. As you fist the hole with a flaming torch in hand, the tunnel is roughly circular with jagged walls. The floor, though, is relatively smooth. You climb your whole body into this gaping hole, into the tunnel. You walk briskly for what seems like hours. The sound of your footsteps echoes through the silent tunnel. Without knowing why, you stop and listen. Suddenly, your torch goes out. You are left in total darkness. Far off, you hear a faint, roaring sound. You walk a little farther, guided by the feel of the tunnel floor. You stop again. The roaring is louder this time. And then far off down the tunnel, you see two small spots of red racing towards you. You feel a little sick as you realise they're probably the blazing eyes of a dragon charging down the tunnel straight at you. Turn from 65 to 62. You have only seconds to act. Frantically, you feel along the side of the tunnel. Luckily, you stumble into a deep recess in the wall, and none too soon, a dragon roars by a second later. You lie there panting for breath, trying to pull yourself together. As you do, you feel a steady stream of cool air from above, somewhere above you. You stand up and feel along the wall. Above you, your searching fingers find a round hole. It might be a connecting passage to another tunnel. You've had enough of this particular dragon run for the moment. Using the rough stones of the alcove wall, you climb up the opening and slide inside. Unfortunately, the passageway isn't large enough to stand up in, and you have to walk bent over in a low crouch. You go on and on like this. On and on and on like this. Stopping frequently to rest. You need to. Finally, you hear something up ahead. The sound of rushing water. That's good, you're going to need to hydrate soon. Soon the bottom of the passageway becomes damp. I bet it does. Soon the bottom becomes damp, then gradually fills with water until it's waist high. You can feel the entrances to other tunnels to the sides, but you keep going straight along the one you're in. The tunnel ends suddenly at the edge of a broad river flowing rapidly through a high cavern. The phosphorescence of the rushing water creates a dim glow, just enough for you to see the other side. There you see a fairly continuous ledge just above the water line. The current seems strong, but you may be able to reach the ledge, even if you get carried some distance downstream before you can reach it. Alright, we need a choice. We've got a choice on page 63. If you try to swim across the river and climb up onto the ledge on the other side, thumbs up. If you decide to go back and try one of the branching tunnels, thumbs down. So you might get swept downstream, but you might be able to grab the ledge, thumbs up. But you might be able to go back, thumbs down. We've got an up and a down and a down and an up. We've got an up, let's get wet, and then a down, so we're still even. We've got an up and an up, and another up, and another up, and another up. So we've got 5 ups there, the ups are well in the lead. 6 ups, alright, ups have it. Try and swim across the river to the ledge on the other side, turn to page 98. So, the choice on 63 leads us to 98. You plunge into the deep water and start swimming for the ledge. The current sweeps you downstream. Finally you reach the other side, but the ledge is higher above the water than you thought. You have to try several times before you manage to grab it and pull yourself up. You sit there for a while, catching your breath. You have to decide which direction you'll take. If you follow the river downstream, it should lead you out of the mountain to safety. On the other hand, going upriver might lead you to new dangers, but it might also lead you to treasure. We've got another option immediately, page 98. If you go downstream, page 90. If you go upstream, page 104. Thumbs up, thumbs down for 90 and then 104. Which one from here? You vaguely remember in a premonition that you've been here once before, and there was a dwarf hole up ahead that gave you treasures. Alright, up it is. We're going upstream. Turn to page 104 from 98. You walk upstream for what must be miles. Then the ledge ends at a small tunnel. You walk forward into the tunnel, even though you have to stoop over to do it. You come out into a large cavern. There is a faint light, just enough to see by. On the other side of the cavern, you can make out you make out an enormous closed gate. You head towards it, but before you can reach the gate, you find yourself surrounded by dozens of small creatures. You blink and look again. They're all dwarfs. Each of the dwarves is armed with a small crossbow, which is not what they've drawn. You raise your arm and start to speak, but you don't get a chance to finish. At a signal, all the dwarves fire at you. And though their arrows are small, they are deadly. Too bad. So, we've had a similar ending, where you get peppered by a bunch of people shooting you with their weapons. This time it's the same, but with dwarves. Which is, that's a kink for some people. Alright, so we're standing on the ledge, dripping wet, panting. We think about going upstream, and we get a vision of being surrounded by dwarves finishing us off. And we think, it could be fun, but no, let's go downstream instead, and we turn to page 90. You follow the river downstream for quite a distance. The light grows a bit stronger in the tunnel. Then far ahead you see a bright spot of light. It must be the place where the river leaves the mountain. You decide to rest for a bit and then continue down to that exit. Turn to page 95. Page 90 goes to 95, which both could have easily fit on the same page, you bastards. You sit down on the ledge with your back against the wall. Then you notice a whistling sound above you. There's a hole of some sort in the wall over your head. Fucking holes in walls in this game. So many holes in walls. There's a hole of some sort in the wall above your head. You stand up again and are just about to investigate when something comes out of it. No, kind of. You stand up again and are just about to investigate when you're startled by a face peering at you from a short distance away. It's the face of a dwarf. There's a hole with a dwarf looking through it. A dwarfy hole. Turn to page 67. How are there still numbers that we haven't explored yet? Jesus Christ. I'm looking at the time and I'm going, I'm hungry, man. It's 1:30. I need lunch. 67. Fuck, it's another choice. Where are all the endings at? Am I going to have to do another stream of this to finish? I thought we'd be done. Alright. Who are you? You start.
Just a moment,
says the dwarf.
Another is coming.
A few seconds later, Zarkon comes into view, his staff glowing in the dim light. Zarkon, you exclaim. I remember you. You're the king's wizard. But what are you doing here?
For one thing,
Zarkon says,
I'm helping my friend Gnarly here to get back safely to his people under the mountain. And you, I see, are still in search of treasure.
That's right, you say.
Then you've got a choice, says Zarkon. You can go with Gnarly and me to search for the land of dwarves, and then let me help you find your treasure. Or you can follow the tunnel that starts there on the wall. It leads directly to the dragon's den. But I must warn you, the second choice is a very dangerous one.
It says choose your own adventure, not ending, to be fair. I'm choosing my own adventure. I'm choosing all of them. Greedy. I've got the completionist in me. Alright, so, do you want to go to the land of dwarves? Turn to page 97. Ooh, do we actually get a repeat at this point, maybe? Thumbs up if you want to go find the land of dwarves. Thumbs down if you want to take the tunnel that leads down to the dragon's den. But you'd be doing so alone, and it's very dangerous, and you might get eaten by dragons. Thumbs up for the dwarves, thumb down for the dragon. Thumbs up for the dwarves, thumbs up for the dwarves. Thumbs up the dwarves, thumbs up the dwarves, thumbs up the dwarves. Alright. Not unanimous, but enough to call it. You decide to go to the land of dwarves, turn to page 97. And that was from page 67. 67 is a choice. Leads us to 97. Zarkon, Ngali, and you make your way back along the river. Suddenly, you're surrounded by small figures with crossbows.
Ngali!
One of them shouts.
You've come back!
The dwarves lead you to their banquet hall where they prepare a feast in your honour. Zarkon, having finished his first mission, vanishes back into the mountain. Later, when you tell the dwarves of your quest for dragon treasure, they take you to a small observation hall right above the dragon's den. You feast your eyes on the treasure that's piled on the floor way below, but you also see the size of the dragons guarding it. You're quite satisfied when the dwarves just give you a purse full of gold nuggets and lead you safely out of the mountain. The end. So we got a very similar ending to when we got piled up with things, and we got the everyone is happy ending, the group happy ending. This time, very similar. But there were few people present, so, still fun, but... so we decided instead to take 81 from 67 to 81. We take the tunnel that leads down to the dragon's den. You climb up into the tunnel leading to the dragon's den. The inside of the tunnel is warm and smooth. No, the inside of the tunnel is so smooth you can easily push yourself along. You're confident that the treasure will soon be yours. As the tunnel slants downward, it becomes steeper and steeper. You can't hold yourself back anymore. You're sliding out of control. I had a scenario exactly like this in the Seekers game on Thursday night. They entered a tunnel in the Underdark, and I just had them make dex saves DC 5, dex save DC 10, dex save DC 15, until eventually they all failed it. At which point they slid the rest of the way, and at what point they failed determined how much damage they were going to take as they fell. It was a pretty cool little encounter. You can't hold yourself back anymore. You're sliding out of control. Just when you think that nothing can save you, the tunnel gradually levels out and you tumble to a stop behind a row of vertical bars. You're high above the dragon's den, and you're in big trouble. There is no way through these bars, and the tunnel is far too steep and slippery to climb back up. Eventually, Zarkon may find a way to rescue you, but for now, you'll stay where you are. Trapped. The end. That was the you tried bondage with someone that was unsafe to do so with, who left you tied up for too long. Ending. Alright, so before 67 was 98, thank you. 98 led to 67, did it? Indirectly, presumably. 97 came from 67, which 95, 98, 98. Okay, 98. You decided to go upstream, so instead this time you turn and go downstream to page 90. Wait. 98 led to 90? We went downstream, did we? Or did we explore all of 98? 98, we explored both directions for 98, because upstream was the dwarves, downstream was what we just did. So before that was 63. Thank you. We must be getting close now, surely. 63. The tunnel ends suddenly at the edge of a broad river flowing rapidly through a high cavern. The phosphorescence of the rushing water creates a dim glow just enough for you to see the other side. There you see a fairly continuous ledge just above the waterline. The current seems strong, but you may be able to reach it. We decided to into the water and reach the other side. So this time we decide, I don't like my chances with that. I'm not a strong swimmer. I don't have strong swimmers. So you decide to turn back and try one of the other branching tunnels. So you go from 63 to 115. 115. You go back, pick one of the other tunnels, and enter it. Soon you see a red glow up ahead. You come out of the tunnel into a scene that reminds you of pictures of hell. Bubbling springs of molten rock are all around you. A heavy sulphur smell fills the air, and it's very, very hot. Down below in a deep chasm, a glowing stream of lava flows slowly. A narrow stone arch stretches over the fiery stream. Turn from 115 to 75. Something behind you makes you turn. An ape-like creature with long, jagged teeth is charging at you. There is nowhere to go except over the narrow stone arch. You decide to risk it, and hope that the soles of your shoes will protect your feet long enough for you to get to the other side. You try a quick dash over the hot span, but the heat and suffocating fumes are too much for you. You collapse at the centre of the stone arch. The creature pounces on you, but you are already finished. The ape-like beast forces himself on you, but you're already finished.
It's just too hot. The whole situation you find yourself in is just too hot and suffocating. Feels like you have hands around your throat as the ape-like beast is trying to get you, take what he wants from you. But you're already finished. You got the animalistic hunter ending. At least we got to finish this time. Alright, back to 47. Thank you, Calamaya. 47. I feel like I definitely should be charging you guys fucking OnlyFans fee for this reading. 47. Instantly you remember what you were told a few days earlier. The miners can break into the dragon run. Maybe there's treasure in there, etc. And you think, actually, no, let's go back before they seal off the part of the mine. It's pretty dangerous. So you turn from 47 to 99. 99. I mean, it could go up on your OnlyFans. You might. I did say before you were here, Fancy. I was like, I've been thinking about what sort of humorous but appropriate content I could put on my OnlyFans. I was like, maybe I could just do Robert Reed's, but like actually read smut. 99. You race back to the other part of the mine. You get there just as they are finishing the wall, sealing off the dragon run. You barely manage to squeeze through. You're supposed to be released today, but you've done your job as water bearer too well. You've become indispensable to the operation of the mine. Your term is extended to a year, and then later to 5 years, and then after that, to life. Uh-oh. You chose to escape instead of pursuing your own freedom, and they thought, nah, actually we're just going to find ways to keep you around, and they prisoned you up. That is the extreme subdom relationship ending, where not only in the bedroom, but like in every aspect of your life, you are slave to your master. One last choice on 38. Alright. Long blonde shoulder-length hair tumbles free. I'm a girl and my name is Vagana. I can't work in the mines. In the 80s. So you chose a short stint term in the mines. You think, maybe not. Maybe I'll just choose banishment. I'm not from this town anyway, so fuck it. I'll just move on and find a venture elsewhere. If you chose total banishment from the kingdom, turn to page 109. So 38 turns us to 109. If this is an ending, is this the last ending? Is 38 literally the last choice? No, we've got 71 before that, have we? Or have we exhausted 71? The long blonde-haired vagina tells you... Alright, if you choose total banishment from the kingdom, turn to page 109. You are at home anywhere, so banishment doesn't sound too bad. At least it's better than the salt mines. You and Vagina's friends are escorted under guard to the border of the kingdom and are warned never to come back. There's plenty of treasure in the world, and you'll find lots of it in other places. But you will always wonder about the treasure of Dragon Mountain. The end. That was actually not a bad place to end. That was like probably the best ending that we could do as the ending. Having gotten the best ending second, we already got the best ending there was second, and then we knew it was downhill from there. I was kind of expecting this to be anticlimactic ending, but that's actually very fitting. That it's like you went into a town, you went through a few things and went, maybe this, and you sort of premonition things, and you're like, fuck it, let's move to another town, and you carried on to the next town. Maybe that's the real exploration along the way. Like your treasure, your real treasure is just like the stories that you can, the experiences that you can absorb from a town. You walk into a bar, you absorb experiences, and you think about the future and like, what would it be like if I got captured and tortured and prisoned forever in a salt mine? And you're like, cool, I've got everything this town has to offer, and you move on to the next book. Did we do both sides of 71? Let me just double check that for sure. 71 was you either rush the guard, which got you killed, or you decide you're outnumbered, which got you arrested. And before that was 3. And 3 was you meet outside, and meet outside led to you getting attacked by guards. We did it! That's the first time we've ever done a Choose Your Own Adventure Robert Reed's and actually finished the whole thing, let alone finish the whole thing during one stream. How long's this stream? I can't see my timer from here. How long are we at? Like 5 hours or something? I could probably work it out. I started at 9, right? So 9 till 1... Nearly 5 hours? There you go. Let's see the end shit, shall we? See what it says at the very end pages. About the author. Richard Brightfield is a slutty man. Richard Brightfield has written sexual novels for many a generation now. Richard Brightfield is a graduate of Johns Hopkins University, where he studied biology, psychology, and archaeology. For many years he worked as a graphic designer at Columbia University. He has written Secret of the Pyramids, The Phantom Submarine, and The Curse of the Battersley Hall. In the Choose Your Own Adventure series, and he has... he's written those 3 in the Choose Your Own Adventure series, and has co-authored more than a dozen game books with his wife, Glory. I don't even think I could legitimately count the number of times holes in walls appear in this book, and the author's wife is Glory. The Brightfields and their daughter Savitri live in Gardiner, New York. About the illustrator. Paul Abrams has worked as an artist for Marvel Comics and Heavy Metal magazine. He's also taught art professionally, and in addition was a rock musician for several years. Mr. Abrams lives in New Paltz, New York. Why did old books tell you where the authors live? It's like they're deliberately trying to dox... In the old days, they tried to dox themselves. They're like, oh, the author lives here. Why do people need to know? Dick! Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't pick up on the fact that the author's name's Dick. Richard and Glory, yeah. Dick and Glory. Oh god, that's perfect. That's a perfect end to this stream if ever there was one. Holy shit. I want to add one more note about the illustrator. I want to know who illustrated this one. I want to know about that illustrator. Was that also Abram? Oh, Jesus.
Wait, you think you can leave before you've liked and subscribed? I will find you, and I will chase you. Unless that's like totally what you're into, in which case I won't do that until you've liked and subscribed the video, and then I'll do that after. Just like and subscribe to the video, you kinky freak.